Brendan Donovan traded to the Seattle Mariners, a Eugenio Suarez going to the Reds, Luis Arraez to the San Francisco Giants. We haven't talked to you guys about these moves in quite some time. They've happened. We want to talk about it. I don't know how we're necessarily going to title this video. This is a little bit of a test for me and James, but you guys like hearing us yap, so here's a little yap session about all the moves that have been going on. Before we do get going into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Big shout out to all our members. We're going to have a lot of videos coming out this week if you want early access to them. Join the membership. Totally optional, but we do appreciate all you guys. And I think to start this one off, James, we probably should just go Brendan Donovan first, right?
Definitely. It's the one that happened most recently. I think it is, of these three moves, the most intriguing just because it was a trade with multiple well-known prospects going in the other direction, and also the Rays just classically getting into every single three-team trade they possibly can. But the discourse around this trade is almost more interesting to me than the actual swing of players back and forth, because there seemed to be a disconnect between Cardinals faithful and the Mariners faithful about what this trade package, one, represents, and two, what it was expected to be. And also, I think that kind of, to me, gets mostly driven from the player that Brendan Donovan is, because if you guys are Cardinals fans in the comments, you let me know. Like, watching Brendan Donovan, he's the exact player you want in your baseball team. He plays good defense all over the field, like especially a team like the Mariners right now that has a lot of prospects that are going to be ready to jump in soon. Like, if Cole Young's not ready, Brendan Donovan plays second. If he is ready, but Colt Emerson's not ready, Brendan Donovan plays third. If they're both ready, Brendan Donovan just goes to the outfield, and you could push Victor Robles being the fourth outfielder, like you probably should anyway. Like, he's a perfect chess piece for them. He's a rat in the best way possible. He does not strike out. He puts the ball in play. He laces the ball into the gaps. Like, he's not going to have a sexy stat line or baseball savant page, but he's such a good baseball player. I think that gets missed if you're not watching this guy on a near everyday basis.
Yeah, I think at the absolute worst, and part of the reason why Brendan Donovan is as good of a player as he is because he's such a floor riser. Like, for the Mariners, being able to slot him in for 600 plate appearances this year at three different positions, maybe even four if you want to count like multiple outfield positions. Yeah. Along with the fact that he has played shortstop as well at times. I don't think he's going to be a great shortstop by any means, but like, let's just pretend that J.P. Crawford has to miss some time. Brendan Donovan could theoretically even slot in there just to kind of take over until the next guy is going to be ready to go. But Brendan Donovan is a very solid player. That being said, I think that the Cardinals fans, or even some of the reporting that was done about what the Brendan Donovan trade package could have been before we even knew that this trade was happening, I think he probably got overvalued at times, because Cardinals fans, when the trade initially happened, I saw felt a little bit underwhelmed about the package they got back. And I'll be honest, I think they got a ton back for Brendan Donovan. I think that was an awesome package that they got back. There was no world ever that Brendan Donovan or a player like Brendan Donovan was going to net you Lazaro Montes, or even at the extreme, Cade Anderson, which is what some Cardinals fans thought. That was never going to happen, and I know that there was some reporting out there that linked those names. I'm sorry for your Cardinals fans, because they set you up for expectations that simply had a 0% chance of ever happening.
And again, that happens because, from a Cardinals fan, you watch Brendan Donovan every day, and you're like, damn, this guy is awesome. This guy does everything right. Like, Brendan Donovan for his career.
He's great.
His career is 20% better than league average with the bat, nearly 800 OPS guy, despite only having 40 career home runs entering his age 29 season. And he's going to play, again, good defense at multiple positions. Like, he's a rock-solid 2.5 to 3.5 win player. Like,
every single year for the rest of his career.
And those don't grow on trees, and that's why they got a good package back. But again, I think there was a bit of a... It was funny to see, again, people... It seems like if you talk to a Cardinals fan or a Mariners fan, if you saw the reactions to this deal on Twitter, the gamut was run on both sides about how their respective teams did in the trade.
Yeah, and I think both teams are winners in this, because like
good.
The Cardinals got so much back, and we'll talk about that package a little bit more here. But from the Mariners' perspective, you can give up a package like that, and it doesn't matter because your farm system's so loaded. And in the next draft, you're going to retool and re-grab guys again, and you're going to fill those spots in, no problem, because that's what they do every single year. They gave up a lot, but you don't feel the hit because, again, these were none of the top 3, 4, 5 prospects in that farm, as well as you just keep filling them in, and you get a guy that you so desperately needed. We're going to have some power ranking videos and ceiling videos that come out later this week, which unfortunately our Mariners take stinks a little bit more right now, because Brendan Donovan wasn't on the Mariners at the time of recording. But one of the things that we mentioned was, we like Cole Young as a player in the future. We know Cole Emerson is going to be up at some point. But to rely on those guys on a team that's so ready to win the World Series right now is asking a lot. Getting Brendan Donovan is exactly who the Mariners needed. I love this move. This makes them a dangerous, dangerous team, more dangerous than they previously were.
just getting another major league caliber player, like a good major league caliber player, slot into middle is what they needed. And it happened kind of on the heels of them seemingly not being interested in another reunion with Eugenio Suarez, him signing with the Red Sox. We'll talk about it a little bit. But the way you talked about the Mariners still maintaining that top level of their farm system, this is what we see teams across the league do with every trade they make. Like, this did remind me a little bit of the trade the Mets made for Freddie Peralta a week and a half ago, because it seemed like these were four teams, again, like in the Cardinals and the Mariners talking about Brendan Donovan, and the Mets and the Brewers talking about Freddie Peralta, that knew that they were kind of each other's best match at the end of the dance for the last few months. And it was just about those teams getting the major league caliber players, the Mets and the Mariners, being like, this is a group, we have a group of prospects we're not trading, and we have a group of prospects we would trade. You can pick from the group of prospects we would trade, then we'll hammer out the details from there. But there is an upper level of this farm system, which for the Mariners is Emerson, Anderson, I think Montes, I think Sloan, I think Carmelo, I even think Celestine, and I think probably if you ask them, like, really at the end of the day, I think they probably wouldn't want to trade Jorge Batista anyway, even just considering his ceiling to floor, even though this floor is not being anything. But figure out the rest of the system. We can get a player here for you, and that's kind of what wound up happening.
Yeah, though I like the move from both sides. Like, it's just a good square trade again.
Square ass deal.
Square ass deal.
I still want. I think we might honestly almost be done with trades. I still want to do like an every single trade square ass deal meter. That will happen this offseason. I want to try to do that. But let's talk about the prospects for a second before we get to those other moves. I think a lot of the fans of these teams kind of want to know more about them.
Yes.
There's this idea going around baseball Twitter right now that Jurangelo Cijntje, Cijntje is a gimmick player because he was drafted as a two-way pitcher, as a righty and a lefty pitcher. And it was announced a few weeks ago, which could have been like a bit of a precursor to this trade, that he's giving up pitching from the left side. I think that's great news because as a right-handed pitcher, he's disgusting.
Yes,
and I think that he gets labeled in a way that's not really accurate about his real-life talent as a right-handed pitcher because he was trying to do both, where he has absolute mid to top of the rotation potential with some more things to iron out. He needs breaking ball quality, but just a fastball and a slider that he has from the right side, like, he slots in as one of the most exciting, at least pitching prospects the Cardinals system is. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why there was a little step back from being the switch pitcher, or at least that was the plan this year, is because that right side is so good that if you can fine tune and make some minor tweaks to what he does from the right side, like you said, James, mid rotation to ceiling front line starter. That fastball is absolutely electric. Upper 90s. The slider is wipeout. It's disgusting. If you can really fine tune a third pitch that he can actually use to get those left-handed batters out, that's where you can see that ceiling for Cijntje really just completely skyrocket. And I think that's more of the reason why you take a step back from the left-hand side. Because similarly to things that we've talked about on Mets Up with Nolan McLean, where how the first year of him dropping hitting, the improvements that you're going to see for a guy that just gets to focus on one thing. Sure, Cijntje's probably still going to throw some bullpens lefty just to keep that arm moving, but being able to focus on one side of pitching, which, by the way, that sounds so insane.
Yeah.
Think about the growth, development, the fine-tuning, the focus that you will have, the improvements that you'll be able to make, not spending your time splitting that now.
Even, again, we have a little bit more familiarity with the Mets system, just talking about the Mets as part of like what we would do on a more regular basis. Even the offensive two-way players they've drafted in the last few years, Carson Bench and Mitch Voigt. Like, Carson Bench was a closer at Oklahoma State when he was in college. He threw in the mid to upper 90s. The second he dropped pitching when he came to the Mets system, all of a sudden he takes tremendous leaps as a hitter in a short period of time and figures out how to do center field on a daily basis. Yeah. And same thing just happened with Mitch Voigt. He stopped pitching before his final year in Michigan, and he had a huge jump offensively. And then last year, the Mets threw him into shortstop. It looked like he could handle that. And you want to even get more top line with this, Shohei Ohtani took a year off pitching. He stole 60 bases. It's like, oh, I have more time to do a lot of other things. Like, preparation is now seemingly easier to do this stuff. Like, Cijntje has all of the potential in the world. It all just comes from fastball. Again, stretches to the upper 90s, has incredible vertical action. Like, it's what every single team, organization, player wants their guys to do. And I even think Liam Doyle's sick. Like, there's crazy shit going on with Liam Doyle. But he's also a guy who's going to be weird to build his repertoire out. Like, there's an argument that Jurangelo Cijntje and this entire offseason, the Cardinals reconfiguring this farm system here, he's probably the most exciting pitcher they have. Not the most exciting. Doyle's more exciting.
Yeah, I think Doyle's more exciting.
I think the most likely to convert to being a very good major league starting caliber pitcher.
I don't hate that take at all. I don't. And this is what Heimblum does. He did it with the Red Sox. You're seeing a lot of the fruits of that come to fruition now, where, like,
build volume.
Yeah, volume, 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 and going after these kind of players that do these things really well. And now to talk about Ty Pete, while he has struggled mightily in the minor leagues,
Been bad.
really bad. One of the things is, I mean, I think he's partially learning a new position because he was, I think, a shortstop coming out of the draft, and then they trying to get him to be an outfielder now. But the reason they're trying to get him to be an outfielder is because he's so twitchy. He's an incredible athlete, and that's 100% what Chaim Bloom saw. Circled it, said, great athlete. Let's see if we can build out all the other tools now.
Again, that's the point of this trade. Senja is the headline of this trade, and Ty Pete is the lottery ticket beneath. And Ty Pete, if he was the headline of this trade, I'd be like, I don't really like this as a headline because this guy, again, while he was very young for the level at low A and high A this past year, he was terrible. He had a strikeout rate over 30%. He still managed to, I mean, this year was just high A. Last year was low A. But he almost went 20-20, but still a strikeout rate over 30%. His on-base percentage in high A was .288. Like, it's not a profile of a guy who looks like... And again, that the whole time was him trying to learn center field. Yes. He has a cannon for an arm. He's twitchy, and he was a bad shortstop, so I'd rather try to get him as a center fielder until maybe then try to get him as a third baseman or corner outfield. Like, you have to do this. There's a long way to go, but it's a good try. Like, why not?
Yeah, and even looking at the Cardinals prospects, like there's not a ton of outfield depth guys that they're particularly excited about right now. So, sure, let's take the twitchy guy that was a former first-round pick and see what we get. And I think that's a fun, again, throw the dart at the board, see where it lands, and Ty Pete could end up being that guy. The other thing I want to talk about in this trade, too, because it doesn't happen too often, but it's been happening more recently, the Cardinals got 2 Comp B picks, which... those are immensely valuable. I know the MLB draft doesn't have the hype of other sports.
It will.
But in terms of organization building and how to get a rebuild going faster, just accumulating more picks, especially now with all the information that we have on these guys, that's probably one of the more valuable things that the Cardinals got in this entire trade.
And with that, getting those 2 Comp B picks, just to tell you guys, Comp B, that's the second compensation picks after the second round of the draft. You can get those picks for free agents that sign elsewhere with a qualifying offer. Teams that are in the lowest 15% of revenue in the league get one or two
balance, right?
Yeah, competitive balance picks every single year. So they'll get half of the teams one year will get a pick after the first round, and then a small addition to their international bonus pool, and then the other half of the team will get a competitive balance pick after the second round and a larger add to their international bonus pool. But with that, the Cardinals this coming draft will have the 13th, 32nd, 50th, 68th, 72nd, and 86th picks in the draft. And based on Will Dodge's projections from Prospects Live, that is the second highest that's the second highest bonus pool that a team in all of baseball will have to give out, only behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. So the Cardinals are ready to kind of have a draft where they can go crazy, like a situation where they can alter their entire kind of franchise's future with a draft where you could take enough shots, get enough high volume guys, and you could just. And it seems like we've done that. Chaim Bloom's done that this offseason with their system, but they can kind of supercharge it this summer, and then you could have something where you can actually be very excited about what's going to happen in the future of this team.
How many picks is that inside the top 100 then for the Cardinals?
I think 6, if I counted right. Let me get
and
6 picks in the top 86.
You can get so many guys in the system that can actually do some damage in those spots. Like you can take more risks too. You can go after guys that maybe do crazier things, like the guy who throws 100 but doesn't know where it's going,
or high school guys.
Yeah, or high school guys, or the super freak athletes. Chaim Bloom shown that the ability to develop these prospects too in the organization. That's awesome. And I don't think that's really being talked about enough on the national scale. And I get it because the MLB draft is so
weird,
bizarre. It's so strange. It's not one-to-one. It's not get good player on team now, help team win. Like it is very much more of like a overarching theme and conversation to have. But I think the Cardinals got a ton back for Brendan Donovan because, again, like you mentioned, floor raiser, good ball player. You watch him play, you love Brendan Donovan. In actuality, like you say, he's a 2 to 3 win player. That's a ton of value, but that's not going to get you top 50 prospects in the game. It's just not.
No, it's not. And again, I still think they did well, and I think the Mariners did really well, and of course the Rays just wind up
Ben
in the
Williamson
again. Yeah. And again, for some reason, Chaim Bloom keeps making trades with teams he used to work with somehow, and like they just got Ben Williamson for I think it was just the Comp B pick, and then like a low level prospect that seemingly I think his name was
Colton Ledbetter.
Colton Ledbetter. I knew it was weird. I was going to say Clayton Beather for a second.
And I'll tell you this about Colton Ledbetter, another like freak athlete outfielder.
And also Ben Williamson, like for a Rays team, that again, when you guys hear us talk about this in our power rankings and our ceiling video, we're like, wow, this team really has half of their lineup doesn't look like major league caliber players. Like Ben Williamson is actually an upgrade for them in certain spots on their infield.
Yeah, and
which is interesting.
I don't think particularly high of Ben Williamson as a player, but like at the absolute worst, it's going to be a guy who's going to play like pretty good major league defense at like infield positions.
And I'm pretty sure that Ben Williamson, the Rays, will figure out a way that like he's a decent contact ability and he has okay raw power. I'm sure they find a way to make that into like a near league average player.
Yeah, which is I think they're happy with that.
And also, I'm sure the Mariners are happy with that because they're like, oh, here's one guy we get to clear up the spot a little, another 40-man spot.
But I think this is a good trade overall. And again, I do think that as we've seen it a lot this offseason in particular, not just on the trade market about evaluating trades, but also like free agent guys. Feels like we all need to take a step back and do like a little relearning and using history to tell us what trades and free agent contracts are going to look like, because the projections this offseason on both sides were horrendous.
I also think that this is a move. I want to talk about kind of transition and talking about Suarez and Arraez a little bit.
Yeah.
Where the league, especially years away now from getting rid of the shift, and it seems like there's a big league-wide overhaul into just caring about defense more. And I think probably that's not an accidental thing, but I think that's because it was just an undervalued thing in the market. I think that offense got to be such an extreme need, and it should be because you win the game by scoring more runs, that a lot of teams, starting with the Rays, the Brewers, the usual suspects, the Guardians, would put a little bit more value on defense because they can get it cheaper relatively to how much it was worth, and now that's becoming something that was more in vogue. And a guy like Donovan's a good defender at second base.
Yeah.
And I think you see a team like the Mariners, who got close last year with a guy like Suarez there. They're like, you know what? Like, let's get the good defender at second base. Like, let's get to 2.5, 3 wins in a different way. Like,
yes.
Maybe in our park that helps more. Like, maybe there's a good belief in if Colt Emerson comes up this year. But it's a value thing that a lot of these teams are trying to win have been like, we really need to put more emphasis on defense this offseason.
Mets did that quite a bit too this offseason as well.
And the Blue Jays also probably showed a lot of people that on a big scale last year, and they again continued to emphasize defense by letting Bo Bichette go. But like there's with the Mets sign, who are apparently emphasizing defense too, but it's neither here nor there. There's just a lot of this seems to be like a bit of a shifting trend across Major League Baseball front offices that I want to talk about a little bit.
It's funny too because like the old heads will talk about how the game's ruined, but like this is a way where they're kind of getting a little bit closer.
Contact and defense right here. Bang.
Contact and defense. Like we're starting to reprioritize it a little bit, but still understand that scoring runs wins games, and power makes money.
It's a blend though. Does power make money? Ask Eugenio Suarez if power makes money.
Ask Pete Alonso.
I mean, again, very differently.
Kyle Schwarber. Eugenio Suarez is also
he's older,
35, 36, right?
For sure. Is he 34? Yeah, but I mean, he also is coming off he's 34 years old. He has great power metrics.
Oh, I love him.
There's no doubt power-wise what Eugenio Suarez will provide next year, but at the same time, there's doubt as to everything else he'll provide.
Yes.
And I think the inconsistency of that profile kind of hurt him. But also it's funny to look at a guy like we kind of make fun of the Anthony Santander contract a lot from last year. Might have been the single one thing that limited the Blue Jays from winning the World Series, ironically enough, and stopped them from getting Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette in the team this year. Neither here nor there. A guy like him, and the Blue Jays fans will always talk about how low the AAV is on that deal. But it's just like when you see a guy like Suarez sign for 1 for 15, and you could buy 35 to 40 homers. It's like, why'd you give Anthony Santander a 5-year contract? These are both guys who are going to flirt with 300 on base percentage. Like what was the nexus of that? A team that's made so many good decisions in the last 12 months, and so many things have gone right. It's still hard to even fathom that deal. Yeah,
maybe they think with Popkins, like they'll be able to get the bat speed up with him. Because like me and you always talked about with Santander, like
but bat speed's the only thing that doesn't need to get up. Everything else is good.
But maybe that's where they thought it was going to be the extra, like of why like
50 homers.
50 homers. Because me and you last offseason were like, because he was linked to the Mets, we're like, please God no, it's not because he's a bad deal, a bad player. It's just it's going to be a bad deal. It's going to age poorly.
And that was the feeling that I had, especially going into this offseason with Suarez. I assumed that someone would shell out and even just give him 3 years without knowing what the defense was ever going to wind up as, and understanding the swing and miss would probably lead to like a 310 on base percentage, almost best case scenario.
Yeah.
So in a video I did on my channel at the beginning of the offseason, free agent I don't like, Suarez was one of them. But on a 1-year deal,
I love him.
It's amazing. It is. I think he wanted to go back to Cincinnati. I think it's a great pillow spot for him to try and get another 1-year, $20 million deal next year, instead of probably what were like 2-year, $30 million contracts that are available for him. But 1 year, this is sick.
Yeah, no, it's a great move by the Reds. I mean, he can mash in that park. He mashes everywhere, but he's been comfortable there. He knows, he likes the city. He can hit there. And that's such 1 year, $15 million for a guy who's probably at the worst going to hit you 40 home runs in a lineup that we joke about saying they're so in that middle spot of like there's no punch. That's the punch right there. That's the bat. Slot him in fourth every single game in the 2026 season.
And even talking about, again, the way that now we've shifted the scales favoring, I think like 5-6 years ago was like the plateau, the crescendo, and put those two words together of defense doesn't matter.
Joey Gallo.
And it was no better way emphasized by the fact that Eugenio Suarez played about 2 months of shortstop for the Reds.
Yes.
In the last year he played with them, they were like, defense doesn't matter. We don't have a shortstop. Let's put Suarez out there.
They had Moustakas at second base.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was the epitome of defense doesn't matter culture. And I think now we've gotten the complete reverse of that, where a team that sat out all of these transactions, the Boston Red Sox, seem to be a team that are going to do probably a lot more that they can to shore up infield defense. And we talked about that in the power rankings videos going to come out probably tomorrow or the next day. But like, it is weird that they've let a lot of these infielders go off the board, not make a big move for any of them.
I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like seeing what the Blue Jays did with defense, seeing what the Dodgers, they're different because they have mega superstars. But also like Miguel Rojas gets a lot of run out there. Tommy Edman still gets a lot of run. Like even Andy Pages, when he struggles, those guys still are great defensive players. And it seems like if you have a lineup that is strong enough with guys that can hit well enough, you can get some value for cheaper money at these positions that relatively also aren't the strongest offensively necessarily. Like second base, like if you can get great second base defense, it seems like teams are okay with that if you're like a league average hitter, which is kind of like the Tommy Edman, Miguel Rojas thing going on right now. So I think with the Red Sox, while I don't agree with it, I think they should have been all over Eugenio Suarez, and it feels a little short-sighted to me for a team that get that bat in that lineup. That would be a lot of fun out there in Fenway. At the same time, I guess they believe in Marcelo Meyer. Like that's a big stamp for Marcelo Meyer. If you're him, if you're that team, if you're that organization, being like the Red Sox they didn't even offer him. It didn't seem like they had a thought in Eugenio.
No, they didn't have. I mean, that was reporting around. They didn't have a thought in it. That reporting also would make sense if a player was more considering the Pirates and the Reds instead of you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would want my reporters to say that after the fact. And again, like maybe his team we just got. Again, we said in the power rankings video, but that we're talking now about our past, but your guys' future. You gave a lot of money to Ranger Suarez. Like he's a ground ball pitcher. He's never even had really good infield defense behind him.
He's had horrible defense.
So maybe if you get, and again, like, and also Trevor Story is not the strongest defensive shortstop. You like talk about that a lot. So you probably do need a stronger, which why Alex Bregman made sense, why they're so aggressive going after him. You probably do need a better defensive third baseman to kind of support Story on that side of the infield.
I do like how the Red Sox are going corners strong defense. Up the middle, bad. Not good.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess it depends because, like, last year, the fact that they found basically a month worth of playing time not to put Ceddanne Rafaela in center field. Like, so how much do you actually care about the defense? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me sometimes to find consistency with the way the Red Sox are building this team.
And it seems like Red Sox fans the same. Like, we always joke about, like, we don't know what David Stearns was doing this offseason. Like, we had no clue. And it's great. The Red Sox fans are the complete opposite. They feel like they're in a blender right now, and they're like, I don't know what Craig Breslow's actually thinking. And it's not from, like, a trusting him. It's from a lack of trust standpoint.
Yeah, and again, because like there's a world where Marcelo Meyer comes out this year. Just he might be a good defensive third baseman, like a completely adequate one, but just can't hit.
Yes.
Like we've watched this happen again. We're going to bring the Mets back into it. Like with Brett Beatty, it took him years to figure out how to hit major league pitching. Like there was lots of ups and downs. There was lots of trials and tribulations. Like it's a lot to rely on young players who have never proven it before, who are not super elite prospects, to come to the major leagues and be able to do it immediately, which is what the Mariners just said we don't want to do this year as we try to win a World Series, acquiring Brendan Donovan. And that might be what the Giants have just decided to do and bring in Luis Arraez. If he's actually going to play second base, maybe not. But like maybe say Bryce Eldridge, just take 2 more months in the minor leagues. Let's make sure you can hit first. But it's again, I think we like on this channel to try and like seep into the brains of the executives making these moves as much as we possibly can. But some of these, it's a little difficult too.
Yeah, like the Red Sox one's a little difficult. I love that the Pirates were in on Eugenio, by the way. That's my Pirates right there. Let's go. I love that.
I hate that means now they're in on Marcell Ozuna, who should be out of the league. But
that's fair. Yes, he should be playing for
jail,
Cobb County State Penitentiary. But to talk about Luis Arraez now, $12 million to play second base is an interesting decision, and it does make me question what the thought process is. I can probably, again, like connect the dots as to why Buster Posey did it, because their second base options are horrible. And Luis Arraez is going to he's probably just going to hit 300 in that ballpark. And if you hit him eighth or I guess he's going to hit eighth because Patrick Bailey has to hit ninth. That guy can't get more at-bats than anybody on a major league roster. But like,
I think he might hit leadoff on opening day.
That's bad. I don't like that.
I don't know. What do you think Tony Vitello thinks about? Like a 300 hitter, top of the order, table setter.
Put Jung-Woo Lee up there if you're going to do that at that point. Like, at least get some athleticism, because like he's going to clog the bases. And also, from a defensive standpoint, it is very funny. It's the meme of the half-drawn horse, where it's like beautiful illustration, horrible in the front. The left side of the infield being Willy Adames, Matt Chapman. Incredible defense. The right side of the infield being Luis Arraez and Rafael Devers. I'm not sure how, like, if you're a left-handed hitter, just put the ball on the ground. It's going to be a hit.
I mean, Luis Arraez, to his credit in his career, he has sometimes been, especially last season, he was worse at first than second. He didn't play much at second for that reason, but he's bad at both, so it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, but also, like, for the Giants, I would have paid Eugenio Suarez $15 million to play second base at that point.
Yes, maybe, like, what would their WAR would have been? It probably would have been comparable. The Giants, the last thing they needed is a left-handed batter without defensive versatility, and they got another one.
And, like, I thought the Harrison Bader move was a super smart move. I was like, great, I love that. Luis Arraez, to me, I weirdly like the move, but I don't love him playing second base. Like, is there just a world he's just the DH and the second base thing's bullshit?
Alex FaceTiming me right now.
He called me, and
we're busy. Yeah, we're busy. So, I mean, maybe, I guess, but probably not, right? Like,
he shouldn't be.
But also, I'll say, I mean, let's devil's advocate this. Like, for 1 year, $12 million, he's probably a 2.5 win player. And this team we've talked about how little major league caliber depth they have in their upper minors, so they just need bodies.
James, is he probably a 2.5 win player?
1.5?
He hasn't been like 2024, he was a 1 win player. 2025, he was a 1 win player. Like,
was he really only that?
Yeah, maybe that's Baseball Reference. Maybe you check on Fangraphs, but I got to imagine Fangraphs likes him less.
Yeah, 2 win player combined for the 2 seasons. I guess it comes down to if they think he can just hit like 330 instead of 300. Like, like last year, Luis Arraez having a 330 on base percentage is simply not good enough for him.
No, he can't.
You can't do that. You really can't do that. Despite everything that Christian Gaiety wants you to believe about Luis Arraez, like, he is, no matter what era Luis Arraez played in, he wouldn't be considered that valuable of a player because he's not a plus athlete and he doesn't have any power. He can't play defense. So it's just $12 million is not that much. And if they gave him the opportunity to play second base, like, maybe they have some dream of working magic with him. But, like, it's just there's so much more breath wasted on Luis Arraez, I think, than there should be at this point. Where he's like a fine major league caliber baseball player, but it's just
we're talking about an 8 hitter way too much. That's truly what it is.
But yeah, I think there's a chance he might play. Lead off an opening day.
That feels like such a chaos thing. Unless he goes back to hitting 330, then he's the right choice at leadoff.
Yeah, then he's the right choice. But I guess it's a strange one there. I still don't know what the Red Sox are doing.
I'll also say this. If you are a team playing the Giants, when he comes to town, you know if he hits it over your head, it's going to be like a double. Like, why not play disrespectfully in and just take away all the little bloop singles from him?
I guess that's possible.
Force him to become a different hitter than he is. Play 200 feet, a 200-foot circle around the outfield.
I still think that him playing second base is worse than
no, of course it's worse, yes.
And it's just this Giants team, we're probably not that far away from the thoughts of is Buster Posey a little in over his head with the way that they've handled this? Like, it seems like last year, like, they got a lot of credit for clearing out the Mets 40-man roster for a bunch of players that might have been cut this year, and it does seem like it's going to be difficult to fit those guys onto the major league squad this year. Like, Drew Gilbert already is a 4th outfielder, 24 years old. I think Blade Tidwell will get a shot at the back of that rotation at some point. His organizational depth. Jose Budo will be a mid reliever.
What's crazy though is, like, again, with like Blade Tidwell and Logan Webb and all those guys, like, there's gonna be balls on the ground.
Yeah, lots of them.
And half of your infield is the worst at doing that.
Like, the other option was Casey Schmidt, who wasn't a great. I think he's a pretty good defender. I don't think he's a great defender. I think sometimes Giants fans pretend he's a great defender. He's a good defender. He does play a lot of different positions, so maybe if he did focus on one, which looked like he'd have a chance to focus on second base this year, where he played the most last year, he could have been a good defender. He showed actually some things as a hitter last year where there's a conceivable world. I'm sorry for the batting average people. Like, he could be a more valuable hitter this year than Luis Arraez.
I think there's definitely a world.
And a more valuable defender.
Especially because Arraez is a 1-win player. Like, that's just catch a hot month and you could probably get there.
Like, this to me makes significantly more sense if you don't think Bryce Eldridge is ready and he starts the year in the minor leagues. Yeah. That's where this move seems to make sense for me. But if he's on the major opening day roster, even if he's good enough to force his way onto the roster, if he's good enough to force his way, he should be, then it starts to get a little bit more convoluted.
Yeah, I can't see the vision with the Giants. They confuse me, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I do like Tony Vitello, though.
I'm hoping the best.
I think that could work, but I do think this is it's a strange collection of bodies.
Definitely a strange collection of bodies. Anything else we got to talk about in the baseball world?
I think that's basically it. I mean, I didn't really like Jeff Passan trying to compare Brendan Donovan to Bo Bichette in a 3-year sample when
Yeah, it felt crazy.
when one of the years Bo Bichette basically didn't play and when he played it was terrible. I thought that was kind of weird.
That was a fun nitpick.
I mean, otherwise just
Or cherry
final
pick.
final Framber Valdez prediction.
Orioles.
Orioles, I think Giants.
The Giants can't get another guy who gets ground balls if you're going to have the worst infield defense on the right side. You can't do it.
I mean, let's see if they do. Let's see how bad Devers is at first base this year.
I think it's going to be horrible.
Okay, maybe I think it could sneak into being not the worst ever.
That being said, they're going to hit. The Giants will hit more than they have recently. So which is funny because the conversation we just had about all the smart teams making the decision to put a little more emphasis on defense, Giants kind of did the opposite and said, "F it."
Yeah, I mean, kind of, and also like it's going to be 8 plus hitters in this lineup.
Yes,
most likely.
definitely.
So like that's fun, and we talked about how the bottom of the National League might be a little bit weak, and like 85 wins probably gets you in.
Yeah, they're competing for a wild card spot. That's for sure.
I can see the team winning 85 games.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Possibly.
Yeah. Why not? That 85. Almost every team in baseball should be able to win 85 games.
And right now, basically, like 17 of them, 18 of them can.
They're going to play what? How many games do you play in division? You play 13. Is that right?
Yeah, you play every team in your division for 4 series.
Okay, and then one of them is a 4-game, I think. So I think
Something like
that
that,
comes out
yeah.
to the 13. Should beat the Rockies at least 10 times. I found 10 free wins right there.
That's it. We're 15% of the way there at that point. What's
for the next 152, they would have to go. They would have to win 75 games for the 152.
last thing to leave it with, 30-minute mark. When's the next time the St. Louis Cardinals reach the playoffs?
Let's see. It's 2026. Give me 2029.
2029?
2029.
It might be favorable, but I think they could. I don't know. The Central Division looks a little more competitive than years past right now.
Definitely. The reason I say 2029 is like you give a chance and because they do have some good top prospects right now. Like I know you're not high on JJ Weatherholt, but talk about like a floor guy. He's gonna be a great floor. He's gonna be a great floor guy. I don't think he's gonna be like a MVP caliber player by any means, but like he's very good. Liam Doyle could be very good. Rynel Rodriguez has been like one of the more exciting prospects of the last year because he just absolutely mashes. I love Josh Baez. I like Quinn Matthews. I think he's solid.
Quinn's had some weird things the last few years with his shoulder.
With the injury stuff, scary. But like, I think if he's healthy, and then just having 6 picks in the first 100, like they're going to find someone there. And even like from trades that they did last year, Jesus Baez is a guy who could fly up lists with a strong minor league season this year.
And we're going to see a lot of pitchers that they accrued to be major league depth this year. Like get a shot to see if they could just be anything,
and then even get rid of a couple of them and pick off some more guys. Like this
do the same thing.
Do the same thing.
Churning.
Yeah, I think at the absolute worst, 2030 will be the next time they make the playoffs.
Yeah, right when the Reds lose all of these good players.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like that take.
And the Pirates lose Paul Skeens.
Yeah, sadly. No, you shouldn't have said that one to the people.
Those are my Pirates. I got to keep you guys, level on here. But I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Windup if you have not yet done so. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys.